Greetings, all. Welcome to Aquarian Diary. I'm your host, John Irving. It is April 9th, 2023. It has been a real honor and pleasure to speak to a lot of really interesting people lately that I have been doing readings for. All different kinds of people all over the world with different perspectives, different life paths, different constitutions. And often there's a lot of discussion and conversation about life experiences and life directions. And this has been very useful for me because it has helped me understand how a lot of my own perspective and worldview and practical experience can be helpful to others. And one of those topics is the role and importance of intuition. Now, I believe that everyone has this to some degree or another. Whether it occurs subconsciously or consciously depends on the person. And some people's psychic abilities are more obvious than others. But a lot of people are in process of change and they're trying to understand how to make the best decisions in whatever area of life is of concern. That is a natural part of our experience. But it often brings me back to this question of our intuition or our internal guidance system. Because if we're only operating with our rational minds only have a limited set of information to work with, which is what we can see and what we're aware of in our experience, and, for example, what options are present at any given point in time. Whereas our intuition or our psychic abilities are able to perceive and be aware of things that may happen in the future or that may be probabilities at least, and therefore have a perspective that is wider and broader and deeper. I am by no means discounting the importance of our rational mind, that is, working with whatever information is available to us at any given point in time, but I am also advocating the role of intuition. And I want to make the point that we can most definitely enhance our intuitive or psychic abilities very pragmatically. Consider this example. You're walking down the street, and the shortest route to your destination is to go straight. But your intuition tells you to turn left. Now, maybe you turn left and you run into an old friend who tells you about a job opportunity that might be beneficial to you or gives you some information that influences your decisions. In other words, there's a meeting that could take place if you turn left that could have beneficial consequences for you. But your rational mind will say, oh, go straight because that's the shortest route to your destination. So someone who is more tuned into and trusting of their intuition might actually stop and go like, okay, I'm going to turn left. I don't know why, but I will. Whereas someone who is very rational might not, if they're not paying attention to their intuition. So our internal guidance system can be extremely useful and beneficial to us if we are listening to it. And like I said, there are practices that we can do to enhance and refine that. In other words, it can be an extremely valuable asset, even if you're someone who has a very practical and pragmatic approach to life. The rational mind has a very limited scope. I could give many examples of how that could play out. Or it could be a warning, something like, don't take the car to work today, or whatever it is. One of the things that a regular daily spiritual practice does, and it could be anything, a classic example is meditation, is that it gets us into a state where we can differentiate between our ego and or our monkey mind, that part of our brain that's always thinking and talking, and not actually paying much attention to external energies that are influencing us, or that might be seeking to influence us. So by engaging in the spiritual practice, we learn how to differentiate between our intellect and the monkey mind and our other sensory perceptions that can be informing us if we are able to pay attention to them. So this is yet another very practical and pragmatic example of why having a good regular spiritual practice is important. Just giving an example, we typically devote a huge percentage of our day to our career and to our work or family responsibilities, tending to our house, our chores, things like that. But most people spend no time whatsoever devoted to these other aspects of ourselves that are less material and less tangible, but that I'm arguing are extremely important and valuable. So even if you take 10 or 15 minutes a day to devote to these other parts of ourselves, the rewards could be incalculable. There may be points in time where we need to do things or make decisions or life changes that do not initially appear to be rational and yet may be very well informed based on other dimensional information or influences. As I have said and discussed here many times before, I personally always start my spiritual practice with grounding, clearing, and protection, which kind of resets my energy field so that I'm not being influenced by the energies of others that do not originate with me. That then brings me back into a state of clarity from which I can operate and respond to. So ideally, one follows that energetic hygiene, and I'll link to my video on that, which provides all of the essentials. And then from there, whether you want to do meditation or whatever is up to you. But again, I'm arguing that this practice has profoundly significant benefits in a wide variety of ways. We also have to consider that we chose to incarnate for a wide variety of reasons. And ideally, we want to be aligned with that mission. When we are not, things tend to go astray and we tend to encounter difficulties. That agenda, your soul's intention, is not necessarily purely rational in the sense that you didn't just come here for example, career or whatever it is. So by being sensitive and able to perceive things on other levels, it can help us navigate life in the most graceful and efficient way. So even if your goal is not to achieve a state of spiritual enlightenment, I'm arguing that it has many, many practical and pragmatic benefits. I will put links in the description below that are relevant, but I wanted to make this case that people should look at this perhaps a little bit differently. It doesn't just have spiritual benefits, it has pragmatic ones as well. We have to learn to be sensitive to those impressions we're receiving on the psychic or intuitive levels. We have to learn how to trust those impressions and be able to differentiate between our mind and those kinds of things. And we have to habituate ourselves to those kinds of stimuli and make it part of our daily life and routine. Thanks for everything. Thanks for all your support. I will also include a link in the description if you are interested in a reading. My forte is really trying to help people figure out what their soul's intention was for this incarnation, to which everything else serves, and is really the point of why we're here. Not everyone can devote a lifetime to studying astrology, and it is a huge topic that takes many years to learn, really, to be honest with you. I am also doing ongoing classes or a workshop in small groups with this specific agenda in mind, that is, to enhance our intuitive abilities and some others. I will also put a link in the description to that as well. So thanks again for everything. Take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.